So welcome to day three. This is probably this is the one. This is like a mishmash of like everything I've learned about kind of behavior change. Just closing things down so I can see us fully. Just little tools, little like reframes and mindset tips and things that I do to actually help me, like taking in the information for me isn't like I love learning. I love learning about what I learn about and women's health and hormones. I've been learning about nutrition and health and wellness for years, and then decided to actually study it as a clinical nutritionist. And then through my own health struggles with postpartum depletion and hormonal imbalances and burnout and like everything else that I got, that's what spurred me into going into like this functional nutrition and holistic. But also just knowing it isn't, you can know everything, but it doesn't really matter if you're not actually doing it. So this is where this comes in. So I've listened to podcasts, read books, listen to audiobooks, like did the things. And these are things that like literally help me. Like I think about most days to help me actually implement the things that are going to like serve me, the things that are going to make me feel good long term, the things that are good for me. Yeah, so we'll get started. So we all know what it's like. It may not be the new year, but you know that new year, new me syndrome, or anytime you kind of, I know when I got like burnt out and things like that, every time I was like, oh my God, I do not want to feel like this anymore. And when I get my energy back, then I'm going to do, I'm going to look after myself and do the things and eat the food and work out and everything. And it took a long time for me to actually implement the things that I already knew. I knew what to do, yet I didn't do them. So it's that new year, new me vibe where you buy all the food, you buy workout clothes, maybe you join a gym or you sign up for an online membership and you kind of fall off a couple of weeks later. Or like me, you get hit with burnout, depleted, or an illness, and you've never appreciated your health more as when you're lying there. I actually remember like lying there sick, and it was just like, what, like I swear next time, like talking to the universe, I don't know, but it was like, I swear I'll like look after myself. I don't want to feel like this exhausted and down and like useless, but it's not our faults. Like we weren't taught these things. Number one, we weren't taught like the nutrition or about our bodies or about our hormones and like what's good for them and what's bad for them. In fact, we were kind of taught what's bad for them to do that. Like, in the 90s, like eat all the sugar but cut out fat, which is like the opposite of what our bodies actually need. Or you should work, 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 work and prove your worth and do all the things, and hustle culture and hustle, hustle, hustle. Um, and like resting's lazy. So all these things are like programmed in our minds that are actually the opposite of what our bodies actually need. Um, and anyway, you feel awful anyway, and you vow you're like, I'm going to do something different. But the way we're going about it isn't actually the right way either. We've kind of been given this misinformation. We order our supplements, we start following some accounts on Instagram, follow their tips, and maybe even you sign up to work with a nutritionist and they give you the things you should do. And you've even had tests done and you know what you should do. You're doing great for a few weeks and then life just gets lifey, and suddenly your health goes down the totem pole of like priorities, and you start, because it's comfortable for our bodies to just go back into autopilot, go back into the things that we've been doing our whole lives or the way we've been doing it for a long time. Another common one is you get your period that takes uh like the period from hell. I don't know what I was doing there. I think Ava was jumping on me. But you get your period from hell with all the symptoms. Your anxiety is through the roof. You want to quit your job, run off and join like a monk commune like, or at least go on a retreat or something, because everyone's like really annoying and you just can't cope. And maybe you've even got like mom rage. You're just over everything and all you want to do is like go to bed with painkillers, your hot water bottle, um and like, yeah. you're just worried for yourself. But you're just too exhausted to like even care. You'd give anything to sort this out, and looking into booking to see someone, and then 3 to 5 later, you're kind of feeling better, and you start running around and doing the same things again. This is that typical luteal follicular phase. If you were watch day one, follicular phase, we start to get our energy back. And because of just the way we're taught to live, we go full throttle again. We will commit to all the things, like overcommit ourselves, do all the things for everyone again, because we've suddenly got this like energy, and we've done nothing last week because we were feeling awful. So we better catch up on everything. And then ovulation is like that, like peak time of our energy. And we're like, yeah, I can do the workout, and I can do this, and I can do that. And yeah, do all these things for other people. And then luteal phase comes around again, and we're like, oh no, like I didn't do, like, why is this happening? And we're just not paying attention to our energy. So a few important things to know about change and like what happens in your brain is your mind hates it. It hates the unknown. It always thinks it's better that the devil you know. So that's why you go back to autopilot, because your brain, if doing these things, so if eating sugar or having 5 coffees or not working out or whatever it is for you, um, or people pleasing or having no boundaries, if that hasn't killed you yet, then your brain's like, cool, we'll just keep doing that because, like, although we're miserable and we're sick, we're alive. Um, like it's all good according to your subconscious mind. So we may think, no, I want to change. I actually want to enjoy my life. I don't want to just survive the day, or I want to get off like the hamster wheel. But your brain will be like, actually, the hamster wheel's got us this far, so we should just keep hustling. We should just keep getting sick, and then living on this kind of seesaw of like survival and then sickness and just surviving. Um, the exception to this is when people have like a huge shock. So if people who you read about, those people that they got a diagnosis, they've had a life-threatening like car crash or something like that, or they experience like a sudden loss, like somebody they know died, and this is such a shock to our brains that it triggers the change like almost straight away, because suddenly the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. So that's something we'll talk about in a while. So number one priority for our brains is survival. It's only when we make our bodies feel safe, when we have all our actual needs met, you can relax enough to make change. So like our actual needs, what are they? They're like breathing, like air, food, water, sleep, and connection. I think I've covered them all there, and like obviously things like just having like financial basic needs met, and sometimes that can be like a mindset shift as well. It doesn't mean that we need all these things that people say we need, but it's like, do we have shelter, do we have running water, do we have food? And realizing, okay, I'm safe, so let's work on making my body feel safe, so then I can start doing those things that actually make me thrive, those things that like, they're not about survival, they're about like enhancing the quality of our health and our lives. Your mind and ego will convince you the unknown is awful. So the thing about change is it's the unknown. If we're kind of just like dragging our limbs through the day, and we're kind of sick, and we're skipping meals and having lots of coffee and kind of not taking our supplements, or like again whatever it is for you, scrolling on your phone, being really sedentary, or else over exercising, the thought of, when you've been doing this for a long time, the thought of changing that, like your brain's like, no, because we don't know what's on the other side of that. It will always prioritize the known rather than the unknown, because again, as long as you're not dead, it thinks, great, we're doing great, even though you again might be miserable, sick, etc. So when we decide to change, we'll experience resistance, we'll experience like self-sabotage. The best way to start with change is to do everything you can to make you in your mind and your body feel safe, and then take the smallest possible steps forward and just be consistent with it. So we don't want to overwhelm our nervous system. So the RAS is the reticular activating system, and it's a part of our primitive brain that's it's definitely based in that survival. So it will prioritize survival, and it's your mind's filter. So like a sieve, there is so much data coming in. Like if I was to pay attention to everything right now, my brain would explode. Like as in the fact, um, like everything coming into my eyes, all the noise outside, um, like listening to my dog breathing there, like as in there's so much information around me that we take in with our senses, with our eyes, with our hearing. Like if I was literally aware of everything that I'm wearing, like my necklace, like my clothes, like sensory overload, your brain would explode. So our RAS, or reticular activating system, acts like a filter, and it filters information as to what it deems important. Um, so right now I'm talking to you, so I'm really like, I'm reading my slides, I'm uh, speaking about what I'm speaking, and I'm talking to you, and that's what I'm focused on. And that's to, again, just protective, so my head doesn't explode. And also it's a survival thing, because the way it filters is based on your past experiences, um, and your past thoughts and conditioning, and um, and survival. So that's what it's filtering through. So it's going to be really aware of threats, and it's going to be really aware of any past experiences you have, or conditioning you have in your mind, or your limiting beliefs, and it will filter everything through based on those. So if you think, okay, I want to get healthy, and I am going to buy all this healthy food and things like that, and then yeah, it's going to be easy. But your mind, your past self, has always thought, oh, like it's so hard to eat healthy. Like I don't like the taste of healthy food. Oh, I never stick to anything. I've got no motivation. If that's actually the thoughts in your mind, then your reticular activating system is filtering things through like that. And before you even start, it's making you think that everything's hard, it won't taste nice, and you've got no motivation. So it will basically only see the obstacles and the bad things about you taking those steps forward. Um, Instead of the positive things. So we have to basically rewire our filter. We need to rewire it to help us to make those changes easy. Um, yeah, so what's important? Um, if we don't give our reticular activating system new directions like a GPS, it will continue to filter as it always has done, i.e., on autopilot, and we will do the same thing we've always done, which makes us miserable or sick, etc. Doesn't get us any closer to our goals, whatever they may be. So, like I said, the RAS is like RAS is like the directions in a GPS. You kind of have to know where you are, and also like really your thoughts about it, not just what you think you want, but it's like what is your like deep thoughts about where you are and what you want, because then we need to question those if they're going to get in your way. Quality questions creates a quality life. Successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. So we have to start asking ourselves better questions so that we get a better destination in our GPS, so that our reticular activating system is looking for different things than it has done in the past. So number one is setting your intentions and why. And you probably want to ask so if my intention was to get better like hormone balance, and it's like why, and it's like because when when I have like mood swings, when I'm not happy, when I have no energy, like it's not very helpful with my family. I feel um I get irritable and I'm low mood and I've got no energy to play with them. And it's like, why? You have to ask it again. And it's like, because that will make my life flow a bit easier. I'll be happier, and my family will be happier, and I'll feel better. And again, you ask why, and you keep asking like 7 times till usually you get to the thing. I actually just want to feel peaceful every day. I want my life to flow. I want my relationships to thrive. Whatever it is that you get to the bottom, that's your real why when you ask yourself why about 7 times. So you can't get to where you want to be without digging deep and asking about 7 times. Like in your journal, which I'll give you some journal prompts, and getting to the root of your wants, because that is your true desires, like the true thing that you want. So you don't just want like, oh, I just want my periods to be better. It's not that. It's like, why though? Why do you want them to be better? How does that look like in your life? You don't have to know straight away, and you can read these questions, and I'll at the end I give you a task, and it's like read them, and then maybe you can answer a bit of them, but if you can't answer it fully, then you come back after you've kind of mulled it over. You'll probably come back and add some things to it. So perfectionism and procrastination can come up here, but it's important that you do the journaling and self-reflection. I include these. It's in my course Revive. There's going to be a lot of it in my new course coming up, because this is the thing. It's like I can't motivate you. You have to motivate you, but I can give you the tools for you to do that. But I think a lot of people think sometimes journaling or these things are like the optional things, but they're actually the things that will give you the most like drive to do it. They're the things. It's like, again, when you ask better questions, it results in better answers and a better life, because we're not on autopilot anymore. We're putting directions in the GPS to where we want to go. Perfectionism and procrastination are kind of one and the same. Like they're just self-sabotage. It's afraid of not being like good enough. So we don't try, or we perfectionism is you can show up as procrastination, because if you think you can't get something perfect, then you just don't even try, and it's just self-sabotage. But being perfect is actually a myth. There's no such thing. So it's just something that's holding us back. So it's letting go of that and just trying even though you're afraid of failure, trying even though you might not be successful or you find it hard. It's like you just start with the smallest possible step. So get clear on why you're here, why you signed up to this, and if any of the programs, it's like get clear on like why you're here and what you want, so you know where you're going. So these are some of the journal prompts if anyone wants to if you want to screenshot them, because at the end we'll be coming back. So it's where are you now? So just get a good, again, this is the GPS, this is your current location. It's like, what are your symptoms? What does your life look like? What's your work life like? What's your relationships like? Because if there's an issue in one area, or like how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you start working on your health or your health issues, basically you probably see an improvement in everything in your life. And that's the whole reason you're doing it, really. Yeah, health is a really good place to start, because if you're not happy, healthy, like feeling good, then it's hard to feel good in anywhere in your life. So it's the best place to start, probably. So it's like, what do you believe you're here to learn? Like start with this 3-day workshop. What do you believe you're here to learn, and why did you sign up? What do you want to achieve, health wise, mind wise, work wise, life, relationships? And why do you want the above? And like I said, I would ask yourself about 7 times why, to really get to the root of the issue. So again, this is not just, we're not just putting it in for no reason. As you can see, this is to help your reticular activating system filter how you see the world. So if you're feeling awful and you feel like you can't do things and you feel like your body's broken, you're going to continue to see evidence of that, because even though you've got all this information, your reticular activating system is actually just filtering things, again, based on your beliefs, based on your past experiences, and based on threats. So if you think, oh, everything's out to get you, your health's always failing, it's going to look for evidence of that. But if you're looking for, if your goal is to, there's the actions and then there's the feelings. So if your intention is to, I want to work out every day and eat 3 balanced meals a day, um, and that's your intention, and you like start thinking that in your head, then your reticular activating system will look for opportunities to do those things. When you go to eat something, you've already programmed that in your head. Maybe you've journaled about it that morning, or maybe you've thought about your intentions that morning. Maybe you journaled before and then you had read them that morning or before going to bed the night before, and suddenly your reticular activating system is like, you go to the fridge, and it's, instead of saying like, "Oh, I'm too tired. I can't make anything. I don't have enough time." You've already said, "Oh, it's easy for me to eat well. And I am a person who eats 3 balanced meals a day." So already you're like going to more than likely go for the healthy balanced meal rather than what you always did. And it's important to do this in small steps so that you don't get overwhelmed and think you can't achieve it. So, what do all these examples have in common? So it's the um, when I talked about a while ago, new year, new me, you buy all the clothes, you get the gym membership, or you get your blood test done and you're all like excited, and then you kind of don't follow through, or you buy your supplements. Uh, what else did I say? Yes, that like you're sitting there when you're feeling awful during your period, you're saying, I'm gonna do all these things, I'm gonna book a nutritionist and all that, and then a couple of days later you don't do anything. So what do all the examples have in common? They all start with their environment or behavior. So this is the way we typically kind of try to achieve our goals, or make a change, is we change our environment. Like, I want to get fit, so I join a gym. I want to balance my hormones, so I'll go out and I'll get a nutritionist to help me, or get a lab test. Yeah, I'm feeling really awful and sick and stuff, I'll go out there and buy the supplements and they'll make me feel better. Or I've got this shopping list from my nutritionist, I'll go buy the food. So it's all basically our behaviors, our environment. But we've got to look at the hierarchy of change, or logical levels of change. um, we are looking at it kind of upside down when we're doing that. So we usually start down here to change. So this is the hierarchy of change. And we usually start with our environment. So what's around our environment is like what's around us are actually reality. Like when you look around right now, that's your environment. And the next one up is your behaviors or habits. So that would be buying the food, buying the supplements, booking the nutritionist, getting some labs done, um, buying some workout clothes, joining the gym, things like that, depending on your goals. The next one up here is capability, skills, education. Um, so it's like, do you actually know how to do the thing? So it's like, say you want to lose weight, like, do you actually know what like a calorie is? Do you know what food is healthy? Do you know like how much you're actually eating? Do you know how like exercise affects like your weight? Do you know if you've got a gut infection? Like when it comes to functional nutrition, there's a lot more going on under the surface when it comes to weight loss. Like, do you know about insulin resistance? um do you know what your hormones are doing, because they can influence your weight as well? So it's like, do you have the capability, skills, education? Like, are you physically fit enough to start working out if you join a gym? um and then our next is like our values, beliefs. So these are things like, for example, mine is things like health. Like, I value health. I value um kind of feeling free, freedom, travel, um, just being autonomy, like doing my own thing. I value. I do this exercise so much. I'm like, why am I drawing a blank? Because like I literally, uh, like, authenticity. Are you being yourself? So if one of these things down here doesn't line up to who you think you are as a person, like, you're not going to do it. And then identity is who you think you are, like you identify with your job, you're a nurse, you're a mom, I am a, and it's also, I am a healthy person, I am a fit person, or your identity can be, I am an unmotivated unmotivated person. I am a person, I am an unhealthy person. I am a person who always gets sick. If that is your identity, then that has much more weight. You're never going to achieve, even if you get the gym membership, even if you buy the healthy food. If your identity is, I am not a healthy person, you're not going to do the thing. So we've got it kind of how we make our changes, how we like implement new habits. We've kind of got it the wrong way around. And then the at the very tippity top is basically that person who you want to be, like in your mind, like as in the best version of yourself, the one with like the highest purpose, like you're basically living the life you're meant to live, you're living your purpose, you're just embodying your highest potential basically. You're the healthiest you could be. You're depending on whatever it is, you know, you own your own business and you make like 1 billion a year, you're like super mom of the year. You're, you know, as in just anything that is in your head that you think you would like to be, that's it, like your higher self, your ultimate self. So like I said, we usually start at the bottom. um we jump into things, we jump straight into what we do or change our environment, we think we'll be a new person, but it's actually the other way around. We need to start with our mind first. We need to start doing these like journaling prompts and really feel them, like really think about, if I was already this person, my ultimate self, my higher self, the one living this goal or intention that I have in my head, what would they do? How do they think? What are their beliefs? What are their values? Um, and start from there. And then we work our way down. So here is like your untapped power, your ultimate self, the person you want to become, um, how you want to show up every day, how you want your health to look like, what you want your body to look like, the type of habits that you want to have. If we want true, long lasting change, we have to start from the top down to have the best transformation and long lasting transformation, not falling off the wagon a week later. We have to believe we are the type of person that does X, the type of person who eats healthy food, the type of person who works out every day, the type of person who owns their own business, the type of person who has easy breezy periods, like no health problems whatsoever. And then the next one down is identity. So if you had all these things, what would you think? What were your thoughts about yourself? It's like, I am. I am already a healthy, I am a healthy person. uh, I am confident. I love my body. I nourish my body daily. Um, like I find eating healthy easy. I find working out easy. I find it easy to run my own business. I find it, I don't know, whatever it is you want to do. I am a patient and calm like mom. I like am so stress resilient. I can handle anything, whatever it is that, like I said, when you write about where you want to be, your ultimate self, or the changes you want to make. Um, and like I said, you don't have to do everything in life. You can focus just on one goal and do it, or you can make one for like your whole life and then focus in each area. But the easy, again, picking the smallest thing is, if your goal is to lose weight, um, then what is the identity of the person who already has your ideal body, whatever you want. um Values and beliefs, so what we believe and is important to us. It's like, I am worthy of being healthy and I easily do the things that make me healthy. I prioritize myself and I eat healthy food that keep me healthy and fit. Healthy, healthy, healthy. I was trying to pick a niche for this one. And then the next one is capabilities, your actual physical skills. So again, it's like, okay, if I'm the healthiest version of me, like what do I need? What level of knowledge and skill? So if I am this person, I will seek somebody out who has this knowledge so that I can learn, and skills I will learn what is, what foods are good and what foods are bad. I will learn what exercise to do. I basically, you acquire the level of knowledge and skills that is required to be this person. So that's one level down. I am a healthy person, so I invest in my health and learn what I need to know. I do my research, um, and I develop the skills like to work out in whatever exercise I want. And then the next one is behaviors. So this is where we usually start. This is where we've started before. But as you can see, there's lots of steps down that actually make it so, because that's the one thing with like health is I was definitely never like ate healthy when I was younger and things like that. I didn't grow up like that. So it was only when, and I would try to diet and stuff like that, and it would always be this like yo-yo thing and just really bad relationship with food. And it wasn't until I actually learned about like food and nutrition and my body and things like that, that it makes it so much easier because I know why I'm doing it. I know why I'm eating this food. And I also know how it helps me. I know the effect it has on my mood. I know how much energy it gives me. I know how it helps my gut. So this makes the behavior much easier. Whereas if I came in with none of the knowledge, none of the kind of identity work up here that I am the person that does those things, like it would be so hard to, it's like, okay, what am I eating? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. And if you don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it, you're less likely to keep doing it. Um, so behaviors are the habits, actions, what we do each day or week. I prioritize self-care, daily movement, sun and nature, good food. I manage my stress and my sleep, and I have good boundaries or whatever it is, the behaviors that you do each day. And you, like I said, these are the ones where you start small and introduce them. So it's like, for example, week one, it can be I am going to get 30 grams of protein at breakfast. It's like, why am I doing this? Um, because I know that's going to give me more energy. I know that's going to help my hormones. So my periods are going to be easier. And then that means I am a much more calm and healthy person. I feel stronger. I feel more stress resilient. I'm in a much better mood for my family. Um, and then this is just the person I am. I do this every day. And you just keep doing it because you've seen the results and you know why you're doing it. And then once you've got all these things done, then it starts showing up in your reality. So what we see in the mirror, we'll notice it like in our moods and our bodies, and we won't get sick as often. Um, yeah, we will be a healthy, calm person with plenty of energy. So based on what you would like your yeah, based on what you would like your health and life to look like. If you want to be calm, energetic, healthy mom, um, and or also run your own business or kill it at work, try new hobbies, get the body that you want, whatever it is, whatever your goal is, you know that you know that health is a priority for you, and you act accordingly. So you can journal about, always think like, what would that version of myself do, act, say, think? And then as you're journaling, take a minute to actually feel that. Like, just imagine what your day, you wake up in the morning, um, almost started singing Kesha there. He's not feeling like P. Diddy because he's probably hungover. But you feel amazing because you're your like best self. So what would they do? They would get up and do a workout, or would they get up before their alarm and do a meditation and read their book, because that's what gets them off to a good start to the day. They probably don't wake up feeling like exhausted and anxious and just scroll their phone straight away. So although you're not there, just imagine it and feel those feelings of how you want to feel. And then what shifts can you make right now or this day? So this is where you can write your intentions down for the day, and they can just be words. They can be, I plan to do a meditation and have 30 grams of protein in my breakfast. And again, that's the starting small. And then you add to that over time. And if that's what they would do, then you do that today. but the smallest possible step. And eventually they compound, and then you start to feel better, and then you can take more action. So, yeah, motivation. So this is something we think people have or they don't, if you're not a motivated person, or maybe you think you are. But actually, motivation, it's not like a trait. Like some people maybe are a bit more driven, are a bit more motivated, but we've all like felt motivated at one stage or another. So you sign up for something, you're pumped, you're motivated, and then you kind of lose it and start to like fall off and not do the things, like the new year, new me thing. So it's like, how can we just feel naturally motivated, and not say like I'm not a motivated person? Um, like for me, like learning things I'm interested in. I just do it. I like it. I see the value. I am a person who loves to learn. Like that's part of my identity. So that's why it's easy for me, because that is what I think of myself. Whereas exercise is something I have to do all of these little tips and tricks. Like I have to do that. It wasn't conditioned in me from a young age. It's not like, but like even me saying that is like, I should not say that. I should say I am a person who finds it easy to work out, and I work out every day. Um, but I have to feel that, like I have to genuinely think that, and that's why the journaling and really like um, anchoring it in comes in, and just like thinking that, feeling how it would feel to be that person, and then doing the thing. That's where the motivation comes in. Motivation is the drive or feeling of being pushed or driven, or the desire to do something, to take an action which is caused by the subconscious mind. The feeling is then increased when you start doing the thing or to stop doing a thing. And again, it is based in survival. So we have to make sure our body feels safe, our minds feel safe, in order to actually start doing the things that like we want to do, that aren't just about survival. They're actually about like us feeling good and doing the things we want to do. Um, as I've just said there. Firstly, we need to understand that our brain will scan a task, like the reticular activating system, and decide if it's too easy or too challenging. If it's just right, we're more likely to do it for the dopamine hit, because the dopamine is the thing that motivates you. It kind of gives you the desire or the drive to do something. Unfortunately, with our phones and stuff these days, we're getting all these quick hits of dopamine, and we're depleting our own stores. So dopamine used to be really good when we were like cave women or men or whatever. And we were kind of like hungry or something. We were like, oh, better go out and get some food. That's like the motivation, the desire. It's like, again, based in survival, because we have to eat. And then we'd go out and we'd kind of work for it. Like there'd be a bit more to it. And because it was like a longer task, because it was more like active and we were using energy, and then we would either find some nuts and berries and things like that, and then we'd eat them. And then like, as in that would be our kind of hit of dopamine, and then we'd feel like satisfied. We're like, yeah, look at us go, until the next kind of desire comes in again. But these days we're getting little dopamine hits from just scrolling social media. It's coming too easy for us. There's no work in it. There's no um there's not that, like, yourself, when you go out and you do something like a bigger task, say you're going out to do the gardening, or you've done your workout or something like that, and you're like, you got this like satisfied feeling, because it was like it took longer, there was like the right amount of dopamine and the right amount of fall off, and then it came up as it should. Whereas our phones and social media and these quick hits, or like these sugary treats and stuff like that, they're like quick hits of dopamine, and we haven't worked for it, and it's depleting our dopamine then for like the bigger tasks that we actually want to do, like get outside in the sun and go for a walk, or do the exercise, or make a nice meal. It's like we get dopamine given to us too easily on a plate, that it depletes it, instead of how it's naturally meant to cycle in our brains. And that's why we start feeling like basically shit and unmotivated. Anyway, so when setting up goals, we have to break them down into smaller chunks, not too easy, but not too hard. So I think something like, if you're not already doing it, like 30 grams of protein and a glass of water with your electrolytes in the morning, like that is like doable. Like you might have to learn a bit, like what does 30 grams of protein look like? But then you have to think, you're like, this is easy for me. I can do this. But it's just challenging enough that it's interesting, but it's not too easy. And you do that for a week and then it kind of becomes easy, but you see the results. So you like keep doing it. Um, and then you put in like the next thing that's going to help you. So is it interesting? Is it something I desire? Is it challenging enough but not too much? Consistent action creates motivation and we keep going. So that's how we gain momentum then, and that's how we don't fall off, because we keep putting up the challenge a little bit, but not too much that we think we'll never achieve it. But it's just challenging enough. Think of everything as though it feels good to have done. So eating a bar of chocolate or social media binge feels good probably while you're doing it, for that like dopamine hit. But what about after? Like we don't really feel good. So before you do anything, this is about creating awareness. Like we really have to like switch ourselves on. Um, think what will have feel good to have done. So the like instead of scrolling social media, that feels good then, but just think in your mind, how good am I going to feel if I get up and do like a 15-minute workout instead, or even dance around the room to music or something like that. And then eating the bar of chocolate, how good am I going to feel? And sometimes these things can't, you're like, I think that'll feel good to have done. Like, isn't if you haven't had chocolate in a while, you've been eating fairly well, and you're like, no, I actually want this. And like it's yeah, I think I do want this and it'll make me feel good. Then that's fine, but you've actually thought about it, you're like aware. So to make it sustainable, to make sure that we like keep doing it, we take the aligned action. So again, we set our intention so we know in our GPS where we're going. We're looking for opportunities with our RAS to implement this thing, because we've written down our intentions that morning, maybe with some future scripting. You're writing like my intentions for the day. So they're programmed in our minds. Then we do it, we do the small new thing. We start small. Remember, big leaps freaks our brains out and we experience resistance and we'll self-sabotage and we go into like freeze mode and we just don't do it. Um, so baby steps are the new quick fix. I think quick fixes have been over for a while, but I think we need to remember it does take a while, but this is the most sustainable way if you actually want to be this person for life and not just for a month. Um, when we do it, we feel good, we succeed, and we kind of celebrate ourselves. Again, that just it's important to celebrate like even doing the small things, because again, if we're thinking in our heads, oh, this isn't good enough, I'm not good enough, even though I've like been eating 30 grams of protein for my breakfast for like 3 weeks now, like like I'm not taking the time to like celebrate that, then your brain thinks like, well, this is useless, we won't do that then. Like it's not, you're like rewiring it the opposite way. So we have to celebrate. We have to like, oh yeah, this is a good thing. Like, oh look how much energy I have. Oh, I'm not getting cravings in the afternoon. I'm not binging. My energy is so much better and my mood is so much better. So I think I'll add more protein to my lunch now, because I see the good effects. So it's important to like integrate and actually have a think about what we've done, no matter how small. This builds confidence. And what is confidence? It's trust in ourselves. It's trust in that we are going to follow through with doing the things that we said we do, even if that's in your head. For me, the workout thing, I'm like, I'll do a workout. I'll do a workout. I'll start this week. I'll start this week. That was making me feel shit because I wasn't doing it. So when we actually do the thing, just no matter how small, like 10-minute workout, then that builds confidence, it builds trust in ourselves, and we're more likely to take more action, more likely to do it the next day. And because we started small, we can build on that so we're not overwhelming our nervous system, so that it becomes easier to do. Then eventually, suddenly we will wake up one day and we are that person. We are that person we journaled about. We are somebody who just works out, because then it's a habit. It's something we do every day because that's the person we are, who we journaled at the start. And that's the transformation. So I always say it's like information and awareness. So you kind of learn something new. You're like, oh, this is interesting. And then we kind of like mull it over, like integrate it, decide what we're going to do. And then what's the next one? The next one's action. So you actually implement it, you take the action that you decided you're going to do, and then you do that over and over and over, and suddenly there's a transformation. The your goal, you've reached your goal, you and then we start all over again. Um, so if you take an example from the start, you see yourself already having the outcome, you see it, you kind of feel it, you really like anchor into what that would feel like, what they do in their day, what they would think. So you're free of your health symptoms, you're energetic, calm, happy, playing with the kids, and effortlessly eating healthy meals and prepping and doing all the things. Break it down into what is easy to do, i.e., a 5-minute meditation and more protein at breakfast. Make that small step as pleasurable as possible. So this is called like habit stacking. So sometimes if it's something that we don't really want to do, like our workout, you can be like, oh, I'll do my workout and then I get like my coffee afterwards and I sit outside for a couple of minutes. And that's called like habit stacking, is you make something pleasurable enough that you want to do it. Um, yes, and using your senses kind of really like uh, adds more to this. So you do a meditation outside for 5 minutes, and then you have your coffee, or you do your 15-minute workout, and then you get your coffee or something like that, and get to read your book or something like that. You make something delicious for breakfast, and it happens to contain 30 grams of protein, and you feel great afterwards. You're really like paying attention to your energy, and you've had no cravings, and you feel the benefit. You gain confidence, so you keep doing it. You write down what you intend to do that day in the morning, because that increases the likelihood that you will do it, but make it easy and sustainable. And that makes you go out of your way to do it, because it switches on your filtration system in your brain to look for opportunities to do the thing. And when you work on your limiting beliefs, you also kind of believe that you are a person who does it and it comes easily to you. Learning why certain food or habits are good for your body reinforces this as you have more whys. As you can see, there's quite a bit to ensuring you actually maintain a new habit. So when we do this all at once, when you try to change who you are in a day and try to do everything at work, like eat healthy and work out and meditate and do all the things, you can see why so many people fall off, because it's all just like too much for your brain. So start low and slow is the key to success. So I just talked about habit pairing there, but Tony Robbins and James Clear in Atomic Habits explains how we can make changes is to move away from pain and toward pleasure, and they both have to feel stronger than your current state. So how can you bring pleasure into doing something that you don't feel like doing, even though you know it will serve you? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is your why? How will you feel on the other side? So again, getting clear on why you're doing it kind of again creates like this drive to do it. And how can I feel pleasure in and around doing this? So we talked about that on the last slide. Use your senses. So if you have to clean the house, play music and dance around it as you do it. Have your coffee once it's done and read your book. Or whatever, I don't know, whatever you find hard, like making the meal, prepping your meal. You'd be like, oh, I'll just do this. And then afterwards, I get to, I don't know, scroll social media for 10 minutes or something like that. I don't know. And you get excited about the journey to getting there, because if you're not enjoying it, you won't stick to it. So this can all be hard if it's all new. You don't know where to start. You don't know you want to make a change, but like sometimes it's hard on your own. You don't really you just don't know the things. And also it's like having accountability. having someone to like check in with and kind of spur you on and motivate you and give you the tools like as you need them can also help. Because on my healing journey, I had accountability because those closest to me didn't really understand. Like I felt really shit, but it was kind of like this invisible illness because I was kind of functional until I was like, during my period, I just completely, it felt like I had the flu or something every month. But in between, I was kind of like functioning, but I didn't feel great. It definitely didn't feel like myself. I just felt exhausted and just, yeah, just living in like survival mode. And the people closest to me like didn't understand. So it was really hard. It made you feel bad because it's like it's just in your head. So sometimes having people who's been there or somebody who's like an expert in it, um, can help because it's just somebody you can turn to and um, get the tools you need and the support you need, even if it's just a pep talk, and also to give you the actual steps to feeling better. So these are some people who I saw during mine as like a nutritionist. I had testing done. I had to have hypnosis to get over like limiting beliefs and things like that. I was already a clinical nutritionist, but and then I retrained as a functional nutritionist for women's health, I should say, like upskilled. Um, and I had support within that as well from other practitioners. Mindset, books, podcast course, trainings, audiobooks. And then I've taken all that, and now this is how I help my clients. Like distill down the most beneficial things out of that, the most hard hitting ones. So in the last 3 days, this is what we've learned. Sorry, the dog just the dog standing on Buzz Lightyear. So we've learned how and why to track your cycle and a little bit about our hormones in general and like what's going on with those these days, how to eat for hormone health. Again, just the starting steps to that. And again, mindset shifts to learn how to change. So I hope they kind of help. And I've got at the end, I've got the task to help you kind of get started with what we've talked about today. So what we didn't learn in the last 3 days are basically individual hormones and conditions and kind of like what being able to decipher what's going on in your body and uh, tracking your symptoms, your hormones, what's normal, what's not, and how to get them balanced, from a whole lifestyle perspective, as well as nutrition and supplements and things like that. How to actually work through your mindset to reach your goals, how to change, overcome limiting beliefs, learn the phases of healing or growth so you understand how to overcome resistance or feeling like it's not working or like your body's broken, tuning into your body and mind and energy to heal and stay healthy. There's also like detoxification and liver health, how to support it easily, and um, and for your gut health, because your hormones just can't be balanced without good gut health. Like, and just like if your stress response is all over the place, you're never going to have balanced hormones. It's your body is just webs upon webs of interconnectedness, and if one thing's not good, then the whole thing's off. Just like if your mindset, like it's your mind that can make your body ill sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes it can be the body or your environment, but once one thing starts to get dysregulated, it's kind of a knock-on effect for other things. So supplements for hormonal health, like the actual ones, and targeted and good quality ones, and blood sugar regulation. I think I talked about in the food one. If this isn't balanced, everything's out of whack. Your sleep's off, your stress is off. It's just inflammation central. Um, Learn about your stress, your thyroid, and the tools to regulate your nervous system, lifestyle factors like sleep, exercise, coffee, alcohol. And then there's weight management and building muscle. This, everything else, I feel like comes before this. Maybe even building muscle before weight, because they kind of, when you start working on the muscle part, the weight thing kind of follows as well, I think. Like birth control, what to do if you're trying to stop it, what it actually does, and like learning if you've already been on birth control, and you're kind of getting post-pill syndrome. That's a thing, like with all the symptoms that have come back like with a vengeance that you may have had before you went on it. Learning all about that and steps how to implement all of this for the long game, because that looks like a lot, but again, baby steps with it. So when I teach people, I give like, this is like, although we're learning all this is what I want you to implement this week, is just these easy things. And there'll probably be something from a nutrition standpoint, like a lifestyle standpoint, and also mindset, because I've just weaved that throughout all of my things, because that was the biggest key to change. So yeah, like I said, the last 3 days, we've done a little bit from here, a little bit from here, little bit from here. But by 12-week program kind of covers everything we just talked about. So, and also how to do it easily and sustainably. So it's just kind of like, where can you be in 3 months, doing this kind of with support and with the steps, like literally given out. And it's something that will stand to you forever, because definitely the mindset changes, they can be applied. I use these for my health, but then I use them in like business now, because all of the things that came up in health, like the resistance, the not doing things, the feeling overwhelmed and stress, that also comes up in business. It's funny how I can like really relate everything back now, which makes it easier. I'm like way more tuned in with my body now, way more tuned in to like see what's going on in my energy, and then adapt my life and my lifestyle and my nutrition and things I'm doing in business to work with it, because I know what's happening in my body, I know what's happening in my cycle. So this program is for you. If you feel like something's off with your health, you're exhausted, you feel like you never get enough sleep and need coffee to get through the day, but all lab work looks normal, or maybe you haven't had lab work yet and you actually want to start looking more into that, there'll be a bit on that as well in the program. And there's bi-weekly coaching calls, so you can also ask me questions. You make the effort to eat well and exercise, but you still don't feel great, especially in and around your period. You get PMS, low mood, irritable, maybe even angry, have crampy periods or acne, or basically any of those ones I talk about on Instagram with like heavy periods. Basically, if you don't feel right around there, then it's not right, is what I'm saying. And it's like getting to know what's right, and or like what's normal and what's not, because I still get quite like introverted around my period. Like I am, but I know the energetics now. So I also know what's normal for me, but I know when things are kind of going off, like had a few more drinks at Christmas and then I could feel that in my period, but it wasn't anything that affected my life. But I also am like, ooh, okay, going to do a bit of like liver support there, going to do a bit of like detox support, so that next month everything's right as rain again, or within the next 3 months, because it takes 3 months for your, at least for the hormones to cycle back around, to be, to be made, because we've got women's hormones and they take a while to turn over, whereas men's are like on the daily, so they can recover much quicker. It takes us a bit more to heal, and a bit more patience and consistency. So if you're health conscious and you're looking for a deeper understanding of your body, not only for you, but for your family, your daughter, yeah, and you want to empower them with body literacy and like knowing what to eat for like true health, you're looking to optimize your thyroid function, metabolism, hormonal balance, mood, gut health, energy. And like I said, there's a bit on weight as well, making sure we're eating enough, and then what to do once you're feeling good and you have some weight to lose, like what to do there. Um, you want to know the right foods, lifestyle, and supplements for you to feel your best, not only to get you feeling well, but maintain it like for your life. You want to feel good most days and have enough energy to play with the kids, and also show up to work with focus and drive and be on top of your game and still look after you. This is the thing, like there's so many balls to juggle, so many yeah, like there's a lot going on for us, like as moms, or even if you're a mom to be, um, like we try to do all the things, but we're not fueling for it. We're not looking after ourselves as though we were like lifestyle athletes, having all these things to do. It takes a lot of energy, and we should be basically looking after ourselves to be able to do those things. But doing all the things and not looking after yourself is just, we're making things very hard for ourselves. And like I know I did, like sat in it for like a long time, not feeling like good and feeling like anxious and just in this like survival mode. And I would just be like, if this is just like normal, I was like here, and then I'd go down here when I'd get sick or get the flu or my period would come along. And I just felt like I couldn't get on top of it. The thing about this is you need to take time. You need to like it won't be like that forever. Once you know how to look after yourself, once you start practicing, like we talked about in this, implementing the habits, it becomes easier. So it's not always going to feel like, oh God, this feels so overwhelming and hard, because you learn the things, you do them bit by bit, and suddenly you wake up one day and you're like, I'm doing it. And it's kind of easy, and I feel so much better. Like that's the way I feel now is things that I find hard, or I'm like, where am I going to fit that in my day? Or how, like, I don't have time, I don't have the resources, I don't have like money to invest. And I do not regret any of my investments, because yeah, I feel so in control of my health now. And also my mind, I still get days where, I'm lower mood, but I can like see it now. And I also can see my hormonal fluctuations and how they might be influencing it. And that low mood, it isn't me. It's just like that natural hormone dip. Or if I have not been anchoring into like my nutrition or my um whatever makes me feel relaxed, or having a few more drinks, or feeling a bit more stressed, I can see straight away like the effects, and I can course correct because I know how, and also I can see it happening. Like, I'm not going to let it get too late, like ever again. Um, yes, and basically, if you're a mom to be and want to support your fertility, because basically our genes, I talked about in the first one, they go back 7 to 14 generations. So whatever you do now is like basically wiring your genes, is switching them on and off to be either healthy or not healthy for your future kids. So it's like you can set them, you can do them some favors now, by yeah, altering your genes, by making you feel better. And then in turn, that passes on to the next generation. You can kind of course correct some of those like genetics, basically. Um, so this will help you wake up feeling energetic and excited for the day, to start work and play with the kids and do the things you want to do for yourself, like follow through with your eating well and working out. And actually being able, like I found this is like when I was stressed, when I was like sick, I couldn't see the opportunities like to meditate or take time for myself. And now I just do it really like naturally, like as in it just flows. And I'm like going outside and getting a bit of sunlight and having my coffee. Like I would have put that on like, oh God, it's just another thing to do at the beginning of my health journey. And now I just like do it. It just comes like naturally. I don't think about it. And bonus, it like adds to my health as well, and gives me more energy. So feeling more focused, calm, and stress resilient to handle work, not only like handle, but show up focused and excel at what you're doing, while still being able to handle the tantrums when you get home, like to a certain extent. um Ava's just at a phase, but I was like so glad, so glad I'm feeling good, because it was testing, it was testing. But I was like, I am like calm, I am zen, I am healthy, like, I can handle this. Whereas I think had this been a year ago, or sorry, like a year and a half ago, when I was feeling awful, then yeah, that would have been the thing. It would have tipped me over the edge, I'd say. So start living more in the now, being present and not in fight or flight. So instead of like surviving, you're actually like thriving. and you can organize your life and trips away, go to social events with friends because you're feeling confident, like you have the bandwidth to organize things and go to things, and you have the energy as well. Feel confident each month that your period or the 2 weeks around it won't disrupt your entire life. Like your skin's better, you've got relatively pain-free periods, and you actually realize that the different phases can work to your advantage. So your life flows better. So there's certain phases in our cycle with our energy, our focus, our mood, where doing certain things, whether that be in like motherhood, life, or work, um, you can start planning around those as you get to know your cycle, like knowing that, okay, my energy is going to dip and I don't think I'm going to want to see anyone like the week, like the 3 days leading up to my period and kind of the 2 days. So you kind of like don't make plans. Um, like I said, you like what's the saying? Like on Instagram, they have like, I'm sorry for what I committed to while I was like follicular. Um, and then you're in your luteal phase and you don't want to do anything or see anyone. You're like, why did I say I'd do all this stuff? Um, have knowledge to begin to trust in and have compassion for your body. No more giving your like power away. No more somebody telling you when you feel awful and there's tests run or you go to the doctor and it's just like, oh, this is normal. Like you'll know, you're like, no, this isn't normal. Like I'm not settling for feeling anything less than good. Like there'll be times when you get sick, but because you are healthy and strong and more resilient, you'll be able to get better quicker, and it doesn't have the same like effect on you, knock you out as much. And then this knowledge, like I'm hoping, this is my hope for everything, is that like this will ripple out into your family, your community. I've had clients come to me and say they've completely overhauled like their kids' lunch boxes and been talking to their relatives, who have like conditions and stuff, and they didn't know this stuff, and they're telling them. So that's like literally makes me so happy. Makes me so happy that like it's like rippling out and we're just getting more like empowered. So start to heal hormonal issues that you've had for years, so that you can go from anxious, exhausted, sick, and low confidence to strong, happy, and have a sense of inner calm. And I really don't. There's not a hope in hell I'd be able to do things like this, what I do on social media or the work I do, like putting myself out there. Like that's never saw myself doing that. But number one, I think it's just so important that people have this information, and number two, because I feel like happy and strong and like more stress resilient, I'm able to like put myself out. I'm able to be more confident. Like I said, back when I was like burnt out and sick, or even before I had Ava, when I didn't like understand my body, and I definitely didn't feel probably the healthiest, although I didn't know at the time, because I think until you feel good, you don't know how good you can feel, because that's all you know. It's part of that like keeping you stuck thing is like, oh well, we've survived this long, so like here's good, when you could actually feel amazing. And then that ripples out to the rest of your life. So the hormone healing method, like I talked about, having you the knowledge, like getting you with the mindset stuff to be aware of everything and like integrate it and have a think about it and filter it through you and decide what you would rather do and how to do that. Then you take the actions that you will be given kind of each week to start to implement to feel better. And then at the end of the 3 months, or depending on how long somebody's had like hormonal dysregulation, it can take 3 to 6 months, so they might want to go through it like again. Then the transformation, and it just becomes more and more effortless the more you practice the things. But this is kind of like really taking you through step by step to avoid the overwhelm, and giving you like the mindset tools to not only help with your health but your life. Like I said, they can be applied to anything. So it's bi-weekly group coaching calls, so you can ask any specific questions, or master classes, and or because I'm also going to get some guest speakers in as well to do things like breath work or meditation. Cool. Okay, Tessa, see you later. That's okay. um, yeah, a portal, and this will be the education on hormones, the female body, all the different hormones and the conditions, nutrition, mindset, and all the things. While ago, the detoxification, blood sugar regulation, um, like I said, all the different like conditions to do with your hormones and how to interact. And there'll also be some advice on like getting lab testing and things like that. PDFs, resources for mindset, emotional regulation, and a roadmap, like I said, to help you implement those habits. Because you'll take in the information and then you'll want to take the baby steps from those. And tasks for you to implement what you're learning so that you can actually keep going. And of course, like all this is done in like group environments. So again, there's the accountability. You can ask questions, you get support, and other people are doing it with you. So that makes it, again, just another thing way more likely to follow through with it. And you just have to like ask yourself, it's like, if you don't do this, going back to your intention setting, it's like, what are the consequences? And you can write this down probably of not changing. Like, where will you be in 3 months, 6 months? This was like a heavy hitter for me when I felt awful because everything felt so hard to do. Like I was so exhausted and sick. Like the thought of like making a meal or like changing anything felt so impossible. Yet when I did that, it's like, what's it costing me not to change? Like, what will my relationships look like? What does life look like? How do I feel every day if I don't make changes? And that was like, yeah, enough to make me cry. I probably did. I probably did cry. So the homework is read the journal prompts, that one I just gave you about what are the consequences of not changing and what would it look like if I change in 3 to 6 months. And then if you go on to, there's a site called Awaken Breathwork, and they've got Awaken Daily, and it's just a 5 to 10 minute breathwork. It's a very short one for like the morning. And I want you to follow it, like when it's done, like a 2 minute meditation, just kind of sit in silence after you've read those journal prompts to kind of just really let them sink in, and that you've asked yourself the good questions, and then answer the prompts. And I'd love to know in the comments on the Facebook group, like, what did you think? Did you do the task? Any questions about today? So again, the little quote is like, when sleeping women wake, mountains move. Because it's this one, she is like my higher self. I think Ava has like the confidence of, I don't know, Beyonce or something. Like she, yeah, just she owns it. She asks for what she wants. She knows what she wants. She's confident. She's energetic. She's out. So I basically, my future self was her, but maybe like better manners or something. She's learning. So yeah. So thank you guys. Thanks for your attention. And yeah, please let me know in the comments in the Facebook group if you have any questions or anything like that.